What's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic here, coming at you with the wrap-up of late May gameplay here in season number 2 of the USBL as we go ahead and wrap up the month of May as we go right into it here. Should be a great episode for you guys, so make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new to the channel as well. As we go ahead and jump into our first game of this episode, we will see a AL East matchup between the Baltimore Stone Crabs and the Atlanta Barons, and the Atlanta Barons are gonna get themselves on the board first. Jesse Winker hitting his 10th home run of the season, and Atlanta is going to go ahead and strike first in this ball game, taking an early 1-0 lead here. And these are two teams that are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum right now. Baltimore, they're a couple games under 500. They're well in that race to win the division right now, at least in the early portion of the season. But Atlanta's been down bad. I don't know what's happening in the sim, because right now it's not really showing it right now. This is where it was. Their standings are looking right now as we go ahead and wrap up this first quarter of the season. So Baltimore right now, they are currently on top of the AL East. They got a 22-20 record. Atlanta is 11-29. They had a similarly bad start than what the Denver Bald Eagles had. Remember, back in year 1, Denver had that really bad start, and they ended up being sellers at the USBL trade day, as Barry Castado actually runs one out, despite the fact that his bat literally broke down on him, and Barry Castado keeps his hitting streak going. It is now up to 12 games. The hitting streak is, as we'll go ahead and see, Will Myers at the plate, got runners on first and second. Should be a double play, but that just gets away from, and that's going to be a very costly error. It ends up costing them 2 runs, and no surprises. Oh, they actually counted as a double. Thought they were going to go ahead and count that as an error, but that did not end up happening for them. So Atlanta only has a 1-run lead now, as we will go ahead and see Bo Bichette at the plate. He's currently batting .250 on the season right now. That'll get his batting average up a little bit as he sends a moonshot out into left field, and it is gone. 6th home run of the season for him. And Atlanta gets one of those runs back. It gets it back to a 2-run lead. We'll see what Jesse Winker can do, though. 1 for 1, already has 1 home run on the day. He could go ahead and make it 2, and it is going to be gone. Jesse Winker hitting 2 home runs in a single game. It's his 11th of the season. So back-to-back solo shots. We also go ahead and see a stolen base. That's Mike Yudreski with only his 2nd stolen base of the season. Although we'll see if Justin Verlander can get himself out of this inning as he gets that 2nd strikeout. Now dealing with Yoan Moncada at the plate, but Yoan Moncada takes a massive cut, and he is actually going to miss. So Justin Verlander gets himself out of any further trouble, but, you can certainly tell Justin Verlander not necessarily having his very best stuff here today, as we do end up seeing yet another home run. Wilson Contreras with his 6th home run of this season, and Baltimore does end up making the pull in the 5th inning. They do call in Julian Merriweather, who has a little bit of trouble himself, although this could be a double play right here, and it is. So Julian Merriweather gets a little bit of help from the defense to get that double play behind him. So no more damage is done, but Atlanta still has a pretty decent little lead here. But this is where things get really interesting. I think this is why they're 11-29. Their bullpen is just straight up not good. Jalen Beeks, first reliever that is in this game right now, and an ERA close to 6. Not necessarily a winning formula for a bullpen, and we're seeing glimpses of that right now as Will Myers hits a 3-run shot, and just in a blink of an eye, it does go ahead and get the Baltimore Stone Crabs right back in the game, especially if Julian Merriweather can put together another clean inning after shutting things down in the 5th, but Yoan Moncada might have other things planned here, as that does end up being the 8th home run of the season for him. So 7-5 ball game as Tyler O'Neill comes to the plate, but he ends up striking out though. The Jacksonville Suns acquisition via free agency can't add on to the lead himself. So now we go ahead and jump into the top of the 8th inning here as we go ahead and see Danny Henderson go to work. He's 0 for 3 so far, but a pretty solid season in this second year, batting .296. Danny Henderson looking for that first hit. Should be an 0 for 4 fair, but it's dropped. The ball ends up being dropped, and the error is going to be on that first baseman. And now Didi Gregorius comes at the plate here. Definitely not as dangerous. Also 0 for 3 and a batting average of .236. That's not necessarily getting the job done at the plate, more known for the defense, but Didi also ends up drawing a walk. Okay, so now we got ourselves some runners at first and second base, although we will end up seeing Didi Gregorius being taken out for Nathaniel Davis. He will come in as a pinch runner over there at, I guess now, second base, as now Joey Bart, he's got runners at second and third. He's going to hit this one deep into center field. Should be the second out of this inning, but it will end up being a nice little sacrifice fly. Although, if that throw was just a little bit sooner, that could have very much been the third out of this inning. But instead, it's just a one-run game here. As we go ahead now, jump into top of the 9th. Edgar Alvarez trying to save the day, dealing with Will Myers. One swing ties this game, and is it going to be a double play at the end of the game? Yes, it is. Will Myers cannot beat the throw, and that does mean the Atlanta Barons, with a little bit of an upset to start this episode, they do end up winning at home, beating the Baltimore Stone Crabs 7-6 in order to get this episode underway. So we go ahead and check out this box score between the Charlotte Cougars, who actually came into this game 5 games under 500. They've been a little bit of a disappointment throughout this series, actually. And then the New Orleans Kings, who, despite their losses in free agency, they're still having a decent season so far, but they get blown out in this one, losing by a final score of 15-5. It was a close game at first, but the Charlotte Cougars go off in the 6th and 7th inning, really pulling away. Tyler Flowers gets named player of the game, 4 for 5, 2 homers and 6 ribbies to go with it. Luis Severino, he ends up getting a win for the Charlotte Cougars. And then Mike Lewinsky, who came in with an ERA under 2.5. That's going to go up just a little bit, as he only pitches 4 innings but allows 5 earned runs before getting pulled at the end of the 4th inning. Let's go ahead and kick it back over to the West Coast as we go ahead and take a look at the defending National League champions in the San Francisco Seals, taking on a NLS divisional opponent, the Denver Bald Eagles, who are still in a rebuilding state. This is a team that were sellers at the year 1 trade day, but off to a slightly better start this year, 17-26, so a little bit more respectful of a record. And even though they've lost the last 3 games versus San Francisco, this is a team that actually has went about playing them pretty tough, playing them pretty competitive, and that's what you like to see. Seeing some younger guys come up in the farm system for Denver. And Trevor Williams, he's been off to a good start of the season, getting Ozzy Albies to strike out there as well. But yeah, you're looking at Trevor Williams, got an ERA around 2. He's been a bright spot for Denver so far, but definitely a big test up ahead here as Paul Goldsmith lets him know that first and foremost, and that's deep into left field, and he's going to just go ahead and watch it just barely get over the wall. That is a solo shot for Paul Goldsmith. It is considered the 14th home run of the season for him, as he will go up against Josh Donaldson couple batters later. But Josh Donaldson decides to go ahead and just do some window shopping as he ends up striking out looking. And we go ahead and take a look at another youngster in the USBL, Harvey Cole. He's a rookie who A little bit of a bumpy start for him, 4.56 ERA, but the dude is only 18 years old. He'll come around eventually. There's a lot of talent around him. He doesn't need to be great. Average would be okay for him. Is now Harvey Cole going up against Vavra, who has absolutely struggled here in the month of May. That will help him get back on track, as that is going to be a solo shot for him. Only his third home run the entire season. Dude was batting barely over 100 going into this game, but that solo shot will allow them to go ahead, reduce that lead in half, and it is a 2-1 game. As now Adam Duvall is up at the plate, but even though he's got that cool name, man, not so good of a season either. 176, and that's kind of what's been holding Denver back. A lot of their guys in the core of their batting order just have not been performing well, but Adam Duvall will get this one out into left field, and don't worry about that being another out for him, as that is going to also leave the ballpark. And we might got ourselves a competitive game here. This game is all tied up at 2 apiece. Although Harvey Cole will settle himself back down a little bit, gets his second strikeout of the game. We'll see if he can do the same to Michael Chavez, and Michael Chavez strikes out swinging as well. So Harvey Cole allowing that home run to Adam Duvall, the designated hitter, but Harvey Cole getting another 2 strikeouts to add to his K total. And this game is now all tied up at 2 apiece. Let's go ahead, jump into the top of the 3rd inning. Josh Donaldson at the plate. He struck out back in the 1st inning. He's been hitting pretty decently in this series. 2 for 7, a homer and 2 ribbies so far in this series. As Josh Donaldson going with the first pitch as he sees down the left center field. Is it going to carry over the wall? Yes, it does! And Josh Donaldson with his 11th home run of the series. And this is a team, San Francisco, they certainly have what it takes. And what's going on with Vavra, though? Oh, my goodness. Vavra came into this game literally with just 2 home runs the whole season. He's got 2 today. He's been absolutely killing it right now, as Braden Lowe will help to reduce the gap a little bit more. But another strikeout for Harvey Cole, though. Although it does seem like Harvey Cole has allowed at least 1 run in every inning so far. Not big innings, but just letting him bully him around a little bit. We'll see if he can calm down here in the bottom of the 4th inning. As Kurt Kinsella, he's at the plate. He actually hits this to the right center field gap. This could drop, and it doesn't. Okay, that actually carried out of the ballpark, so Kurt Kinsella also hits a home run as well. And Denver, now just a 5-4 game. I think all of them coming by the home run ball, as Harvey Cole does get the strikeouts to end the inning. But Harvey Cole is not in there all that long whatsoever. He will eventually be pulled here, as nothing has really happened since then. We go into the bottom of the 8th. Marco Alaniz strikes out, but with how the ball bounced around a little bit, I'm not exactly sure what happened. It counts as a strikeout, but because there is a wild pitch, Marco Alaniz still gets to go to first base. So now all of a sudden we're here, couple batters later. Tying run is at second base. Brandon Lowe could play hero, or we're going to see a double play. No, it's not a double play. The tying run is going to score. And this game is now all tied up at 5. Wow. What a costly error. We'll see if that bites them in the butt, but Adam Duvall cannot bring Denver the lead, as he ends up striking out. Huge pitching performance there. Should have been a clean inning. It did not end up being like that. And we're going to go into the 9th inning. It's still all tied up at 5 apiece. Randall Gruszek going to go in here, try to break the tie. Only 1 for 14 in this series. He's in a little bit of a slump, but how about this? Get him out of it, though. And we got a guy. He's got some wheels. Gruszek going to bring in the winning run. Potentially, he does. Trying to go for third base, though, and beats the throw. So San Francisco gets a run in there, and Denver goes to their bullpen. Looking at Michael Oki. 6 for 7 in save opportunities in 18 appearances. But coming in here, a little bit of a pickle facing Victor Reyes. There's runners on the corner. And Michael Oki needs a double play to make sure that this stays a 1-run game. 1-1 delivery. Reyes out to left center field. Is it going to drop? It does! And it's not going to be the double play that Michael Oki is going to look for. This might bring in a couple of runs. No! Second out at the plate. It's Seth Beer. Oh my. But those 2 runs end up being the difference though, as San Francisco does leave Denver with the victory. And they will also go ahead and complete the 4-game sweep as well. San Francisco winning 7-5. So how about that for a performance as we go ahead and get it back over. Keep it out in the Western United States. We're checking out the Honolulu Islanders and the Houston Hurricanes. And the Houston Hurricanes, man, how you want to talk about a fall from grace? They were 1 game away from going to the World Series last year. And now here we are. They're 10 games under 500 now. Not an easy opponent either. Honolulu proving that the collapse that they had in Season 1, that is simply not them. That is not who they are as a team. And it's a team that is certainly loaded with talent. Matt Chapman, he was acquired back in Season number 1. He's getting more comfortable with the Honolulu organization, batting .280, 7 homers and 27 ribbies, going up against Mike Clevenger. As there's a 3-1 count here with the delivery. Matt Chapman able to get this into the outfield. That should also bring in a run as well. So we will see Matt Chapman bring in another run on top of it. So a 2-0 lead here as we go ahead and check out one of the pitchers for Honolulu. We do got some Zach Gallion action on the mound, but let's cut it back to the top of the 2nd inning. Check out Gary Sanchez, who been a little down bad so far this season. 210, only 4 homers. So not really doing too much at the plate right now. That is why he's in the bottom of the order. But look at this hit. Out into left center field. Is it going to drop? No, it does not. Okay. But Gary Sanchez, this is a dangerous part of the park here. Oh my goodness, if Sanchez had a little bit more speed, that was an inside the park home run. That would be a home run in most ballparks. But with how unique Houston ballparks is, I'm actually surprised that Houston doesn't have more of an advantage at home just because of how unique the dimensions are. But that being said, we'll see what should be a double play, but no, we do actually see Mike Trout beat the tag, the throw to first base. So run's gonna count as Mike Trout, actually don't know who this guy is, but he's gonna end up being thrown out at second base. Oh my goodness, you hate to see it. That still should leave Mike Trout to start the 3rd inning, but you gotta be more disciplined than that. As we go ahead, jump to the top of the 4th inning, Matt Chapman, he's gonna end up striking out to Mike Clevenger. He's been laboring, but does end up getting his 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. We'll see if he can do the same thing to Starlin Castro as the 1-1 pitch is coming for him. Castro gets this out into left field. It's going to drive, and it's going to end up dropping as well. Castro, a little bit more speed now. We'll see if he can make it all the way around the bases. It's going to be close. Is Starlin Castro going to make it? Yes, he does. And Mike Clevenger gives up an inside the park home run to Starlin Castro. It makes it 4-0. Could very well, we might have another triple situation coming through here, as that triple makes another runner for Honolulu. Just 90 feet away, it's Gary Sanchez, who's already got 1 triple. He gets his 2nd one of the day, and will end up being brought home not too long after. So Mike Clevenger, he is certainly getting bullied just a little bit out there. Is not looking good for him. Look at the stats. Allowed 8 hits and 85 pitches. And I would not be surprised if he ends up being pulled here pretty shortly. And sure enough, manager's going to make the call. And in the 4th inning, not even at the end of the 4th inning, in the middle of the 4th inning, Mike Clevenger is going to be pulled from the game. It was not a good performance for him whatsoever, as we will end up seeing who comes out of the bullpen. It looks like it's going to be Paul Blackburn who comes in, their long reliever. 16 appearances, a 4.0 ERA, that honor roll ERA. But Paul Blackburn does make sure that no more damage is done here in the top of the 4th inning. We will end up seeing Houston get out of it, but they really need to start getting some runs here somewhat soon, because you cannot get this far behind against Honolulu. They just have so many talented bats right now. Mike Trout certainly being one of them. You can see why. Just getting that hit out into right field, and Mike Trout, he's actually going to try to go for second base and gets in there in time. Very aggressive base running by Mike Trout. It was a bold strategy, but it worked out for Cotton. As now, Eloy Jimenez has Mike Trout on the base paths, and Eloy Jimenez gets the job done. It's going to get the single, but more importantly, Mike Trout is going to be able to go ahead and get himself home in the process. It does make it a 6-0 affair, and one reason why Honolulu has certainly been so good. Got Eloy Jimenez and Starlin Castro towards the top in batting average. You know, Mike Trout is in that discussion as well. They've just been doing a good job producing. Maybe not the most home runs out of his team necessarily, but that being said, though, they do a really good job of making sure that they get on base one way or the other, and it's showing here today. You know, Honolulu could potentially run away with this game, and it could be turned to a box score kind of affair, but Houston does end up getting themselves on the board eventually. Brandon Belt making sure that the drought is gone, get the goose egg off the scoreboard. But you gotta find a way to stop this Honolulu squad. They are aggressive on the base paths. They got speed. You know, offensively, Honolulu is just a well-rounded baseball team at the end of the day. We'll see how far that they can go. They don't have the best pitching staff, but if they're hitting like this, man, they could beat any team in the USBL on any given day. You have to look at them as potentially a team that could win it all at the end of the day, as Honolulu does end up scoring yet another run. But we see a throw out at third being just a little tad too aggressive. So there won't be any more runs in this inning for Hawaii. But Houston finds themselves down 7-1. JT Daniels trying to help out a little bit. And listen, he does get a little bit of a home run. 5th home run of the season, only 338 feet. So didn't hit it too terribly far whatsoever. But they also need Keston Hiura to show up and play some ball. This was a guy that was in the MVP conversation for the American League last season. Now, definitely taking a huge step back, maybe a little bit closer towards the law of averages, as Keston Hiura does end up getting a hit here. Should at least be a triple. Is it an inside the park home run, though? Keston Hiura, he's certainly going to try it. The relay throw, not in time. Keston Hiura getting another run on board. So Hawaii, they're going to go ahead and bring in Daniel Norris here, see if they can get the last few outs of this game. Does end up getting MJ Melendez to strike out swinging. So Houston trying to get some kind of comeback going. They're down by 4 runs, though. And now Hawaii calls in Ryan Stanek, who doesn't have a single save this season. He does have a 5-0 record thus far, but in his one save attempt, he did end up blowing it. We'll see if he can get the save here, as his first batter is going to be J.D. Davis, who is going to go ahead, hit a little grounder to the shortstop, but Anthony Rizzo can't get his hands on the ball, and it's going to be considered an error. So, oh my goodness, here comes the Hurricanes. As now, Christian Yelich, 1 out, runner on first, going to get that to hit fair, and J.D. Davis going to get on his horse a little bit, does end up moving over to third base. Runners on the corners, so Hawaii's going to bring in their real closer, Giovanni Gallegos. 20th appearance of the season. Can Keston Hiura help his team make a comeback? We'll just have to wait and see. Full count. Delivery. Hiura out into right field. Will end up dropping. Is considered a second out. This could be a third out, but the throw does end up being offline, though. J.D. Davis will end up scoring, and it will be a free run game as Josh Bell looks to keep it alive, but Mike Trout, he's going to be able to get under this thing, make the catch, and it was a spirited comeback for the Houston Hurricanes. But that being said, all good things must come to an end, though, and Hawaii is going to leave the Lone Star State, beating the Houston Hurricanes 7-4, despite that error in the 9th inning. As we go ahead and check out another team that has been really disappointing this season. I don't know what's going on with the Phoenix Firebirds, to be honest with you guys. They added Aaron Judge. They have a decent pitching rotation as well. And yet, here they are, 3 games under 500 now. They are taking on the Jacksonville Suns, who weren't necessarily sellers at the trade day back in season number 1. But this is also not the most talented team on the face of the planet either, as they did lose Tyler O'Neill to free agency last season. So, not a ton of talent on this squad. Phoenix, on the other hand, they got some dudes that can play some baseball, particularly Aaron Judge. Hope we get to see a little bit of him. But first, let's go ahead and check out this bottom of the 2nd inning. Kayvon Biggio has the bases loaded for him right now. Only 1 out. As Biggio hits a little flare out in the center field, it doesn't end up dropping, but there should be a runner scoring right here. And look at that, man. Jacksonville is going to go ahead and strike first in this ball game. The Jacksonville Suns, with a 1-0 lead, is now top of the 3rd inning coming. Gio Urshela trying to help his guys get on board, but Urshela is going to strike out against Aaron Nola. This is the ace for the Jacksonville Suns. Is now AJ Pollock comes up to the plate now. Real specialist against left-handed pitching, batting .348 against left-handed pitching, but pretty sure Aaron Nola, last time I checked, is a right-handed pitcher, and AJ Pollock has straight up been trash against right-handed pitching thus far. But look at this, a little bit of an exception here. A home run out of right field, and it is going to be gone. AJ Pollock with his 9th home run of the season. Is now Donovan Solano, bottom of the 3rd inning, going to go ahead, see if he can give the Jacksonville Suns the lead back. And hang on now, this is actually carrying out there, and oh my goodness, it actually drops in front of the center fielder. Triple. No, it's going to actually end up being a double, though. But what a hit by Donovan Solano, who is 3rd on his team entering play here today in terms of number of doubles in a season, only trailing Wilson Ramos and Starling Marte, who actually is at the plate right now and is going to get another run in. So, Jacksonville Suns playing tough here early, giving themselves a nice little 2-1 lead. As Rick Thomas comes up to the plate now, has no home runs this whole season, only batting .200, but it would be something else if we see Rick Thomas hit his very first home run of the season here. We'll see if he can do it, though, as Rick Thomas, definitely not a home run, but does end up bringing in a couple of runs himself. That is the 13th and 14th RBIs for Rick Thomas, as he does avoid, at least for the time being, going on that interstate. As Donovan Solano looking to see if Rick Thomas will steal. And Rick Thomas does, and is considered safe at 2nd base. That's what Rick Thomas is for. Not a power guy. He's got some speed on him. He's get that 8th stolen base of the season. But Jacksonville can't do anything with Rick Thomas at 2nd and ends up being stranded there. So go ahead, wrap up this 4th inning. We'll go ahead now and jump into the bottom of the 6th. Chad Pinder facing off against Jeff Samardzija, who came in as a long reliever. Here comes the pitch, and Chad Pinder, he gets a hold of one, and it's going to be gone. Another home run. Jacksonville jumping out on the Phoenix Firebirds, as maybe we're seeing some cracks, some weaknesses in this Phoenix Firebird team. So now we'll see if the top end talent for Phoenix can bail them out. But first, how about this hit deep out there? Austin Nola looking for a home run, and is going to end up getting that as well. His 5th home run of the season does cut it down to a 3-run game. and Jacksonville will go to the bullpen. They got Zach Brennan coming into the game for the first time today, as we do end up seeing a wild pitch. It ends up being a strikeout, but at the same time, though, a double steal gets runners at second and third base. And what's worse is Aaron Judge is coming soon. So we're going to bring in Carl Edwards Jr. This is the best reliever that Jacksonville has. Yes, I know, that's crazy. But he gets Aaron Judge, the biggest free agent acquisition in all of season one, at least in the offseason. The strikeout swinging and a huge payout here, as Jacksonville is 3 outs away from pulling an upset on the Phoenix Firebirds. Here comes George Soler. He ends up striking out. So only one more out remaining until Jacksonville pulls the upset on Phoenix. AJ Pollock, he gets a hold of another one. He does have a home run from earlier today, and it's going to end up being yet another home run for him. The 10th home run of the season. It's just a 1-run game. Austin Noah can tie the game up with just one swing of the at-bats. It's a weak grounder to third. Is it going to be the third out? Yes, it is. And Jacksonville is going to get himself a 5-4 victory. A victory that they certainly desperately needed. Phoenix continues to be a huge disappointment as they lose another one. So for the final game of this episode, we're going to take a look at 2 more rebuilding squads here. The Cleveland Rockers, who had one of the best records in the American League last season. They won the AL East. They certainly are a different team. They are taking on the Nashville Blues, who also have a little bit disappointing. I mean, they added guys like Rhys Hopkins and Brian Buxton. You know, they added some dudes onto this team, but the pitching staff for Nashville, on the other hand, has certainly held them back quite a bit, though, as Joey Wendell will get things started with a solo shot out in the right field. It's the 4th home run of the season for him, by the way. So Cleveland does end up jumping out to 1-0 leads. We'll take a look at Miles Milwaukee. Got 3.74 ERA, facing, ironically, one of the free agent acquisitions for Nashville, Brian Buxton, who been a little bit of a disappointment. His batting average just isn't where it was last season, but thankfully there are some guys stepping up for Nashville, like Taylor Trimble, who's hitting this one out into right field, and it is not gone, but that will end up tying the game. We will end up seeing a triple for Taylor Trimble, and this game is now all tied up at 1 apiece. So we got ourselves some excitement here as we see a former top prospect as CJ Abrams take the plate, but Abrams, he's going to end up striking out swinging, though, as now Whit Merrifield at the plate, 0 for 1, looking to help break the seal here, as that will certainly help the Nashville Blues, though. Going to be placed on second, maybe a play on third. Whit Merrifield going for it all, and he's going to be in there. He will be marked as safe. So we got Whit Merrifield in a big way, keeping it up here. 12-game hitting streak for him is now Daryl Cooley looking to go ahead and get himself to work. Let's see if he can give the Nashville Blues the very first lead of the day. Cooley gonna go ahead and hit this one out into left field. It will end up not dropping, but that being said, though, that will end up getting Nashville the lead, although trying to stretch it out to third base, not the smartest idea on the face of the planet, but Nashville will end up taking a 3-1 lead. We'll see if Ryan Mountcastle can change that here, though. He did strike out back in the top of the first inning. We'll see if Mountcastle can have a little bit more luck this time around, and that will certainly be a little bit different than his last at bat. A shot out into left field, and it is gonna be gone. A home run of the season for Ryan Mountcastle, and it will get Cleveland within 1 run. Nelson Cruz gonna get in as the tying run. He's gonna end up getting a little single out into right field. It will extend the hitting streak for Nelson Cruz. He's on a 10-game hitting streak as of right now. As we'll go ahead and see what Ken Grubb has got. He's gonna try to move Nelson Cruz along, but instead it's going to represent the first out of the inning. And the 5th strikeout for Hoyt. Declan. Same thing for Travis Shaw. So we might end up seeing Nelson Cruz being stranded. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Aquisius Aquino can do something about that. That's a really nice hit ball out in the right center field. And that's also going to leave the ballpark. Not a lot of running for Aquisius Aquino. He's going to jog around and get that 3rd home run of the season. As now, Ryan Mountcastle looking to go ahead. He's going to hit this one out deep into left field. And now Cleveland's got that lead, baby. A 5-3 lead. See if Nelson Cruz can go ahead and make it an even bigger of a lead. But not quite. Nelson Cruz going to strike out. No more damage ends up being done either. So Nashville find themselves down for the first time here. And ever since like those first few innings, the offense for Nashville has been a little bit cold. We'll see if Brian Buxton can turn around, or he's going to also strike out. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning, as we'll go ahead and see Tristan Casas gonna go ahead and hit this one out in the left field. You can see it potentially leave the ballpark, and it is going to be gone. 5th home run of the season for Tristan Casas. So the Nashville Blues are just 1 run down, as we're now here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rhys Hoskins with a chance to potentially tie this ball game up with just 1 swing of the bat. Let's see if he can do it against Wander Sierra. As here comes the 1-1 count. Rhys Hoskins with the delivery is deep down in the left field. Can it stay fair? It does. Nashville officially tie this game up thanks to the free agent acquisition from the New Orleans King. Is now all tied at 5 apiece. And not only that, but Nashville, they might take the lead if it wasn't for that scoreboard getting in the way. If it wasn't for that scoreboard, man, that was going to be another home run. Nashville would have had the lead. So the Nashville Blues are going to bring out Julio Pablo Martinez into the game, as we will take a look at Michael Givens, his 23rd appearance of this season, but in a very sticky position, dealing with Jakeem Diaz. 1 for 3 so far on the day. Gonna go ahead, get it right up the middle of the field, and it's gonna end up being a 2-run. Another 2 runs coming across the plate. Oh my goodness. Things are getting real interesting now. Nashville got that 2-run lead, and the crazy thing is they can still add to it as well, but Taylor Trammell is gonna go ahead and strike out here. So now, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Jake Fagan at the plate now is going to hit this one out into right field, and it's going to leave the... How's that not a home run? That should have been a... Let me know what you think down in the comments. Did that home run by Jake Fagan count, or was that actually dough? I'm pretty sure it hit the wall, like the top of the wall, and it should have been a home run, but... I don't know, man. I'm just a commentator for the USBL games. I am not an official. I don't want to be an official because I don't have good eyesight, so I would blend in too well with these USBL officials. But that being said, Nashville will end up still winning the game anyways. They will win this game by a final score of 9-5, and we will end up seeing the Nashville Blues come out on top regardless. So we did go ahead and get ourselves through 2 months of season number 2. So this is a great time to go ahead, check out the standings, see where all of the teams stand right now. Starting with the American League East. Of course, we got ourselves quite a few surprises. The Boston Quakers first and foremost, 25-23. That is good to be in charge of the AL East for right now. They do have a 1.5 game lead on the Baltimore Stone Crabs, who did make a playoff appearance in the previous season as well. The Cleveland Rockers, though, they were the defending AL East champions, and they are a little down bad right now. They are 18-30 as of right now, so it's been a rough go for them. The Atlanta Barons also 16-32. They could potentially be sellers. Meanwhile, the American League Central, we do see the Minnesota Ducks on top of the AL Central as of right now, but the Columbus Jets and the Pittsburgh Force both in second and third place as of right now. And look at the Chicago Freeze, 22-26. You're defending World Series champions as of right now. They are under 500. What is going on with the Chicago Freeze? That is absolutely insane. The Nashville Blues, though, they look a lot more competitive. I'm pretty sure they will have the #1 overall pick in the USBL draft, which is happening next episode. I'll talk about that shortly, but Nashville's looking more competitive. Meanwhile, for the AL West, we do see the Honolulu Islanders with the best record in the league right now. They are 35-15 through 2 months of baseball right now, and it's a pretty solid division overall. You got the San Antonio Outlaws, they're 29-19, and Las Vegas Launch Wizards look pretty solid too. They're 28-21 as of right now. It's very much possible, given how the first 2 months of baseball have been, that we could see 3 teams from this division make it to the postseason. Then we got Seattle Pilots. They were decimated in free agency, but they're still only a few games under 500. And the Houston Hurricanes, 18-31, last place in the AL West. They are out here, definitely the biggest disappointment of the season, in my opinion. They went to the ALCS. They took Chicago to a Game 7, and now they're 18-31. They're 16.5 games back in the division race. Meanwhile, this is the overview of the AL wildcard so far. Like I said, San Antonio, Las Vegas, they got their 2 wildcard spots if the season ended today, but the Columbus Jets are in it, and so are the Pittsburgh Force. They are right behind them as well. Meanwhile, 2 teams that are over 10 games back in the wildcard, you got the Houston Hurricanes and the Atlanta Barons. Watch for them to potentially sell if they can't get it together here in the next month. Then we move over to the National League. Now, last year we saw the Philadelphia Patriots with the best record in the National League, but they don't even have the best record in their division right now. The Washington Senators are actually out here. They have sprung forward. They're 28-20 right now. Philadelphia still have a solid record, and so does New Orleans, despite the fact they did lose Jordan Alvarez and Bryce Hopkins in free agency. It hasn't affected them that much yet. They are still a competitive baseball team despite what they seem to look like on paper. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Cougars, though, they are a little disappointing. A top 10 team in terms of talent. They have a great pitching staff as well, and yet there they are, 3 games under 500. Despite that, it's been a tough look for them. On the other hand, in the NL Central, we do see a tight race there as well, similar to what we saw last year, except we got a bunch of new teams, man, at the top. We got the Memphis Bobcats and the Milwaukee Bears tied for first place in the NL Central to this point. The Aurora Lightning not too far behind, a game and a half back, 25-23. The Indians, who did acquire Jordan Alvarez. They have been terrible at home. They are 4-20 in their own stadium. It's been a rough go for them. Meanwhile, the Louisville Colonials, they're in last place, 20-28. To wrap up at least the divisional standings for the National League, we got the NL West and the San Francisco Seals, do best record in the National League right now, 31-18 going into the draft day episode. They got a great team in store as well, looking to try to get back to the World Series. LA Saints are right on their tail. This should be an exciting race between these 2 teams. Meanwhile, the San Diego Whales are okay right now, 24-24, but look at the Phoenix Firebirds, though. Yo, they got the biggest free agency signing in Aaron Judge, 97 overall guy. You would think that would help, but that has not been the case. The pitching staff kind of holding them back a little bit, I'm not going to lie. That 4.12 ERA, not good as a team as well. And then, of course, we knew Denver wasn't going to be that great. 18-30, though, so they're more competitive than they were last season. And with that being said, we actually do have technically a 3-way tie. But it would go to, the second wildcard spot would go to who would ever lose between the Memphis Bobcats and the Milwaukee Bears for that second wildcard spot. Right now, the LA Saints would have the top wildcard spot as well, with teams like the Philadelphia Patriots, the New Orleans Kings, Aurora Lightning, and the San Diego Whales hot on the heels as of right now. Phoenix, Charlotte, and Indianapolis got some work to do, but nobody in the National League seems like they are thinking about selling as of right now. We'll have to see what happens to Louisville, as well as Jacksonville and Denver. So that is going to go ahead and wrap things up for this episode of the USBL. Next episode will be a draft episode, but if you want to start getting your custom recruits in, I'm certainly down for that. All you guys need to do, check out the Discord that is linked in the description, and there is a section for USBL prospects that you could submit ahead of season number 3. That will be coming from this draft class that I'll be showing in the next episode. So draft day should be a good one, and I hope you're excited for the draft episode. And if you are, man, I encourage you to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you happen to be brand new as well. This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic, getting ready to sign off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.